Good afternoon. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Pequignet Royale Origine. This watch is available from pequignet.com for €4,800. Pequignet have a rich brand heritage. They were founded in 1973 and they're currently based in Morteau in France. In 2011, Pequignet became a manufacturer. What that means is they began to manufacture their own in-house calibers in Morteau in France. So firstly, let's look at the box that the watch comes in, and then I'll talk you through the specifications of the piece. So the watch comes in a watch box which is protected by a cardboard outer box and also a cardboard sleeve which you remove. This is the outer box, and as you can see it's branded with Pequignet on the lid. So one removes the lid, which is a snug fit to the base, pulls down the flap, and inside we have the watch box, which I'll take out and show you. So the watch box is fully coated with white vinyl to a good standard, flawless stitching around the perimeter to the hinge lid, branded with Pequignet on the hinge lid. And on the front, on the lower right corner, we have Manufacture Français, which confirms that both the watch and the in-house calibre used, the Calibre Royal Automatic, are made by Pequignet in Morteau in France. Above Manufacture Français, we also have the Fleur de Lis, which is the Royal Lily emblem of Pequignet. So, hinge lid. On the underside is fully upholstered with a contrasting grey velour fabric to a good standard. The base is also fully upholstered with contrasting grey and orange fabric to a good standard, so immediately one gets the impression that the Royale Origine is a high quality piece. Left hand cutout houses the white leather travel roll, as you can see, embossed with Pequignet, flawless stitching around the perimeter, stainless steel popper securing the flap, and inside the watch sits on a padded pillow cushion, which is also upholstered to a good standard with contrasting grey and orange velour fabric. The inside of the white leather travel roll is also upholstered with contrasting grey fabric. So good presentation, good quality leather travel roll. So nice to see this included. And in the right hand cutout, it houses this padded pillow cushion, which is also upholstered with grey velour fabric, and the watch sits on that, so nice snug fit. Now in the centre there's also a cutout, and that houses this, which is a brushed satin finish stainless steel warranty card. This is the first time I've seen a steel warranty card, usually they're made from plastic. On the reverse, we have the unique serial number of this Royale Origine piece, and each Royale Origine has a unique serial number engraved into the exhibition case back. On the left of the warranty card, we have a QR code you can scan with your Android or iPhone. That will download the owner's instruction manual specifically for the Calibre Royal Automatic, and also the terms and conditions of the 5-year international warranty. Now I want to give due credit to Pequignet here, because usually mid-tier pieces at this price point of €4,800 are covered by 1 to 2 year warranties. 5 years of international warranty is exceptional. That is expected with high-tier pieces costing in excess of €10,000, but it's very unusual to get a 5-year warranty on an in-house calibre and a watch with a mid-tier piece at €4,800. So they deserve credit for that. And lastly, one also gets this plastic tag, which is embossed with the Pequignet logo, and on the reverse it has the reference number of the Royale Origine. So good presentation, I like it. With regards to the specifications of the piece, we have a 42mm case diameter, we have a lug-to-lug measurement of 50mm, a thickness of 12.5mm, and a lug width of 20mm. The genuine leather alligator strap is black and tapers from 20mm at the lugs down to the 2-button push deployant clasp. Now, I want to clarify, the Royale Origine is available with a plethora of strap options, various colours. Each of those colour options and finishes are available in 3 different strap lengths, small, medium and large respectively. So if you're a collector with a 5 to 6 inch wrist, the small strap will fit. If you're a collector with a 6 to 7 inch wrist, the medium will fit. If you're a collector with a large wrist of 7 to 8 inches respectively, the large will fit. So for reference, this is the large version and it does fit my 8-inch wrist. So this is something I like about Pequignet. You can choose the length of strap specific to fit your wrist, small, medium or large. So as I've detailed, genuine leather, alligator finish, as you can see, tapers down to the 2-button push deployant. Now externally it looks like a standard buckle and tang, so it has a buckle and tang on the outside, but the internals actually have 2 button push triggers for the deployant. Flawless mirror polishing, nice heavy gauge to the solid 316L grade stainless steel buckle and tang, and also the internals of the 2-button push deployant, and as you can see it's embossed and signed with the fleur-de-lis, which is the royal lily emblem of Pequignet. Absolutely gorgeous finishing. This is a high quality, high tier level finishing buckle and also deployant. 2 keepers on the strap, one slides, one's fixed as one would expect, and as I've detailed, this is the long strap, so it will fit up to an 8-inch wrist with no difficulties. We have a double dome sapphire crystal with clear AR coating on the underside, and the clear anti-reflective coating does an outstanding job of reducing the glare and the highly reflective nature of the silver mirror polished applied indices and silver mirror polished Dolphin handset. On the left we have a power indicator which has a scale from 0 to 88 hours because the Calibre Royal automatic in-house calibre has an incredible 88 hours of power reserve. On the right we have a subdial for the seconds. The mirror polished hand for the power indicator and the mirror polished subdial second hand are finished to perfection. In terms of dial execution, the quality of the printing and the quality of the opaline silver dial is done to perfection. This is the kind of quality of finishing to the dial one would expect with a high tier piece from the Holy Trinity, Patek Philippe, Audemars Piguet and Vacheron Constantin respectively. This is the kind of dial execution, finishing to the handset and the indices that one would expect with a €20,000 plus piece. So they deserve credit because we're not looking at a high tier piece costing in excess of €10,000, we're looking at a mid tier piece costing €4,800. Quality of the mirror polishing to the Dolphin hands is exceptional. Quality of the mirror polishing to the dots on the chapter ring is exceptional, as are the applied indices. The mirror polishing is beautiful. Also, the opaline silver dial is very aesthetically pleasing. It contrasts very well with the Dolphin handset and the applied indices, which have a nice 3D effect. It does look matte white, but it does have a slight sheen to it because of its opaline silvered finish, and it does look more matte than a glossy enamel dial, but I really like the textured finish to it, which is subtle. It just has a nice light sheen to it, so it gives it a slight metallic finish to the white rather than just being pure textured white. Nice crisp printing to the second ticks on the subdial and also the ticks on the register for the power reserve 0 to 88 hours. Nice and crisp, high definition. Quality of the printing is exceptional. Either side of the 6 o'clock index we have manufacture française because, as I've detailed, the piece is manufactured in-house by Pequignet in Morteau in France, as is the in-house calibre, the Calibre Royal automatic. So quality of the dial is €20,000 price point level finishing. It's Holy Trinity level. With regards to the crown, it's solid 316L grade stainless steel, coin edge finished, mirror polished domed cap to it, and of course it's embossed with a high definition fleur-de-lis royal lily emblem, which is the emblem of Pequignet. No sharp edge to the tips of the coin edge teeth. It's correctly proportioned, partially recessed into the right hand flank of the case, but it is large enough to get good purchase with one's index finger and thumb to manually wind it or set the time. So the coin edge finishing is high definition. The mirror polishing to the embossed fleur-de-lis royal lily is exceptional. Now, the benefit of this having a push-pull crown is one doesn't need to unscrew it in order to manually wind the piece or alternatively set the time. 100 metres of hermetic seal is very strong specification for a push-pull crown. This is a daily wear piece, not a dive piece. It would have been acceptable to have 50 metres, but this is 100 metres. So, as you can see, looking at the power indicator, I've already fully wound it to its maximum 88 hours because I was testing the accuracy of the piece when it's fully wound. So I'm not going to manually wind it because it's already fully wound to 88 hours, but I can tell you it's very smooth to manually wind and nice medium resistance to it. You can feel the gearing in the movement meshes very well. The quality control, builds quality and tolerances are clearly very high to the in-house calibre, the Calibre Royal automatic. Putting out the crown fully is to the first click is the time setting position. Now it feels nice and light, both clockwise and anti-clockwise, feels very smooth when you rotate the Dolphin hands to set the time. One detail I like about this Calibre Royal automatic, which is an in-house calibre, is there is minimal backplay. When you rotate the crown clockwise and anti-clockwise, there's an immediate response. So clearly the meshing of the gearing, the tolerances and the build quality are very high. Unlike other calibres, you don't have to take up a lot of slack. When you rotate the crown, the Dolphin minute hand immediately responds, so it feels very high quality. And I really like that lack of backplay, not having to take up the slack in the Dolphin hands when you set the time. It feels nice and smooth and the gearing feels very good, very low friction, and I really like the refinement of it. If I had to use one word to describe the movement in this piece, I would say refinement. So pushing the crown back in, it's got a nice positive click, and the movement begins to run again. So feels very smooth to manually wind, absolute pleasure to set the time, and it is very practical and useful to have the power indicator on the left of the dial from 0 to 88 hours. 88 hours is very impressive. That is over 3.5 days of power reserve. And the subdial second hand is clearly legible, and it sweeps around the subdial at 3 Hz because this in-house calibre runs at 21,600 vibrations per hour. So let's look at the strap in detail. As I've detailed, the Royale Origine is available on a plethora of straps, different finishes and also different colours. This is my personal favourite, the black alligator leather strap. I like the textured finish of the alligator leather. Flawless stitching around the edges. Now, it's a very thick strap, it is padded, so it is a lot thicker at the spring bar end, and then it gradually tapers down in thickness down to the deployant clasp. So at the spring bar end it does feel very stiff, and it is going to take daily wear to break it in to make it feel soft and supple. But when you get down to the buckle and tang on the exterior of the deployant, it does feel more soft and supple the thinner the strap gets. So I am confident with daily wear it is going to break in and become very soft and supple. But initially, the padded alligator strap does feel very stiff. That's something to bear in mind. 2 keepers, as one would expect. One slides, one's fixed. Quality of the stitching to the top side and the underside is exceptional. Deployant opens easily. Now I'm just going to open it up and show you the underside. So the underside of the alligator leather strap is lined with a cream toned leather. Nice and smooth, feels very comfortable to wear for long periods of time, such as 8 to 12 hours per day. Plenty of holes in the long strap, so this will fit from a 7 to an 8-inch wrist. It's embossed with Pequignet. On the other side, it's also embossed with alligator. As you can see, quality of the stitching is good. Now, one negative, and one thing I think Pequignet could refine or enhance, is the use of the standard spring bars. They could upgrade this to quick release spring bars, because the problem with this padded leather strap is it is very stiff, so it's going to be difficult to get a spring bar tool and prise the stiff leather strap to compress it without damaging the mirror polishing to the lugs, because it's easy to scuff and scratch mirror polished lugs like this, which are absolutely flawless. With quick release spring bars, that would negate the need for a spring bar tool, and it would make it easier to exchange the strap if you want to change it for a different one. But by having standard spring bars, it's going to be a very tight fit to compress the edge of the padded alligator leather strap, and the risk is you can scuff and scratch the lug. So this would be far better, more refined, if they use quick release spring bars, something for Pequignet to consider. Now just bear with me and I'll do back up the buckle and tang on the exterior of the deployant, because I want to show it to you in detail. So I'm just going to set the length. That's it. Right, so firstly I'll close it and show it to you. Now it's not handed, it doesn't matter if you close the left or the right hand portion of it. If you look at the gauge of the 316L grade stainless steel, it's nice and heavy. Every facet of it is mirror polished to a flawless standard. This is the kind of finishing and quality control of a buckle and tang on a high tier piece. One would expect to see this quality of buckle and tang on a €10,000 plus price point piece. Quality of the embossing of the fleur de lis, which is the royal lily embossed emblem, is flawless. So nice heavy gauge, no sharp edges, no burrs to the top side, underside or flanks of the buckle and tang. So pressing the 2 triggers of the deployant, it opens easily, both the left and the right hand portion, as you can see. Solid 316L grade stainless steel, as one would expect. Mirror polish to the top side, underside and flanks to a flawless standard. The 2 button push triggers are heavily sprung loaded, so they feel robust and reliable. The long-term durability isn't going to be an issue. The centre section is also signed. It says Pequignet manufacture. No sharp edges to the top edge or the low edge of the flanks, and the corners have been deburred and chamfered very well. Let's check the hinge pins. So outer left hand hinge pin articulates smoothly, doesn't feel stiff or kink, doesn't have excessive lateral, longitudinal, side to side or up and down play. Inner left hand hinge pin articulates smoothly, again doesn't have excessive play. Inner right hand hinge pin articulates smoothly, no excess play. Finally, outer right hand hinge pin, nice and tight, articulates freely, doesn't feel stiff or kink, doesn't have excess play. This is an example to other mid-tier brands of how to get a deployant clasp, correct. Builds quality, quality control, finishing. Everything about it is perfection personified. This is the kind of 2-button push deployant clasp one would expect to see on a high-tier piece costing €10,000 plus. We're looking at a mid-tier piece at 4,800 with a high-tier quality clasp. So I like the external buckle and tang, and I also like the internal 2-button push deployant. Now it's not handed, you can close the left or the right hand portion, they don't overlap. Snap shut with a nice positive click. End of the strap engages with the two keepers. Visually it's very aesthetically pleasing because externally it just looks like a standard buckle and tang, but you've got the benefit of having the quick release of the 2-button push triggers, deploy it, and it opens freely. It is the perfect deployant clasp. So let's look at the exhibition caseback. Exhibition caseback is glazed with sapphire crystal. Now I want to give due credit to Pequignet here again because often mid-tier brands will use the cost-cutting measure of glazing an exhibition caseback with mineral crystal because, strictly speaking, the front of the piece needs sapphire crystal because of wear and tear. It's an area that's prone to being scuffed and scratched, but the exhibition caseback is just rubbing against the wrist. It's not going to become scuffed and scratched with daily wear. So often mid-tier brands will cut production costs by using mineral crystal and maximise the profit margin per piece as a result. Pequignet do not cut corners like other mid-tier brands. This is glazed with sapphire crystal. Look at the clarity. It does an outstanding job of displaying the in-house calibre, the Calibre Royal Automatic. The thing I like about it is the large portion of the sapphire crystal. It's not a small sapphire crystal with a large portion of stainless steel around the circumference. It's a very large diameter sapphire crystal with a very low profile, minimum portion of the stainless steel outer section of it. 6 flathead screws, screw it down. 100 meters of hermetic seal is very impressive. Now, 50 meters would have been acceptable for a daily wear piece. 100 meters is very strong specification. Mirror polishing is absolutely flawless. High definition engraving of the specification and also the unique serial number of this Royale Origine piece. The thing I like about it is it's very flat and low profile. It's the kind of flat exhibition caseback one would expect with a quartz powered piece or manual wind piece. It doesn't have a bubble back profile to it. Now bear in mind this is an automatic, it's not a manual wind movement. One would expect a thicker bubble back caseback in order to provide adequate clearance above the rotor. But look how close the sapphire crystal is to the rotor. Minimal clearance, the tolerances are exceptional. So 100 meters is strong specification, but it is flat. The benefit of that is it reduces the thickness of this piece down to only 12.5. Now bear in mind, it doesn't have a flat sapphire crystal in the front, it has a double dome sapphire crystal which does add some thickness, but it is still only 12.5 thick. Often with high power reserve pieces, now bear in mind this has 88 hours of power reserve, which is incredible. The problem with high power reserve pieces is they have a thick movement because the barrel in the movement needs to be very thick, and of course the movement is therefore thick and the case needs to be deep in order to house the thick movement with the high power reserve and the large barrel. Pequignet have made this a very low profile calibre. It's only 5.8mm thick, which is very low profile for a 88 hour power reserve movement. They've been able to use a double dome sapphire crystal rather than flat sapphire crystal. This is still only 12.5, even with an exhibition caseback with 100 meters, even with a double dome sapphire crystal which is 100 meters water resistant. 12.5 and 88 hours is exceptional thickness and power reserve, something to bear in mind. So let's do back up the buckle and tang of the deployant, and then I'll give you a wrist shot and we'll see how it fits on my 8-inch wrist. Now just bear with me, and I want to get the sizing correct. I'll go 2 more down because I want to have 2 holes visible. 1 more, and then I'll have the perfect fit. There we go. So as I've detailed, this long strap will fit up to an 8-inch wrist, so I've got 2 holes spare on the buckle and tang, and I'm just going to snap shut 1/2 of it. No, I'll leave it open. Right, so I'll give you a wrist shot. Just bear with me, I'll close both halves. It's quite tricky when you've got gloves on because they're slippery. Right, snap the right hand portion shut, and then we'll snap the left hand portion shut. And I'll just engage the end of the strap in the keepers to show you it fits. Just bear with me. Right. So, as I've detailed, the Royale Origine is available with a plethora of strap options, small, medium and large sizes. This is the large. Now, I can easily slide an index finger beneath the deployant and the strap, and I still have 2 spare holes. This will easily fit up to a maximum 8-inch wrist, as you can see, and I can still engage the end of the long strap in the 2 keepers, the first fixed keeper and the second sliding keeper, and I still have 2 holes left. I can actually tighten it up because I've got an index finger beneath it. So plenty of length on the long strap. This is something I really like about Pequignet. You can select the length of strap, small, medium or large. Now, as I've detailed, this strap though is padded. The alligator leather does feel very stiff, but at the deployant end, it does feel very soft and supple. It's going to take daily wear to break it in, but I am confident with daily wear it's going to become soft and supple as per Cordovan shell Horween leather, and I think it's going to become very soft and supple. But initially, it does feel very stiff, rather like a stiff bracelet. So, comfort level is 10 out of 10. Feel good factor is 10 out of 10. The wrist presence of the 42mm head of the piece is very satisfying if you have a large wrist. Something to note, if you have a 6 to 7 inch wrist, I think 42mm is going to wear with too much wrist presence to be satisfactory. The other thing to note is it is a long case. 50mm lug to lug is long, so it's clearly best suited for collectors with a larger 7 to 8 inch wrist. It does have a nice curved undercut to the case, and the lugs are curved profile. They wrap around the wrist very well. It does have a very low profile flat exhibition case back, as I've detailed. Nice large proportion diameter to the sapphire crystal glazing, but although it's only 12.5, it's a long case. I often refer in my previous reviews to 48mm as being the sweet spot. That is the perfect lug to lug measurement, regardless of whether you have a 6 to 7 inch wrist or a 7 to 8 inch wrist respectively. At 50mm, it is 2mm longer than the sweet spot, the perfect lug to lug of 48. So it is a good fit on my 8 inch wrist, and I would say it would be a good fit between 7 and 8 inches. But if you have a 6 to 7 inch wrist, 42 is too much wrist presence, and the 50mm lug to lug will be too long. You'll get some overhang on a 6 to 7 inch wrist. Minimal gap beneath the tips of the curved lugs because they do curve around the wrist very well, and the strap is stiff because it's padded alligator leather, but I'm confident it will break in and become more soft and supple with daily wear. The thing I like about this piece overall, above all else, is, as I've detailed, is it is only 12.5mm. As I detail in my previous reviews, 13mm or below is the sweet spot to easily slip underneath a shirt cuff if you wear business shirts. So needless to say, at 12.5 it is 0.5mm below the 13mm optimum thickness. This is easily going to slip underneath a shirt cuff, even though it has a double dome sapphire crystal rather than flat sapphire crystal. So it's very impressive because the movement is only 5.8mm thick. The benefit is this is 100 meters water resistant, which is strong specification, but it is below 13mm. It's only 12.5. Large diameter case, wrist presence is there, comfort level is there, feel good factor is there. The opaline silver dial is absolutely gorgeous. The mirror polished dolphin hands are absolutely gorgeous. So feel good factor is 10 out of 10. Comfort level is 10 out of 10. The deployant is low profile. It's not too bulky. It doesn't make the exterior buckle and tang stick out too proud from the wrist. And the 2 triggers are recessed. They don't stick too proud either side of the left flank and the right flank of the deployant clasp. So you're not going to accidentally press both pushers and deploy it, but it doesn't stick out too much on the left and the right hand flank, and externally it just looks like a standard buckle and tang, and it's very aesthetically pleasing. This is like a high tier €10,000 plus price point buckle with the embossed fleur de lis, as you can see. Absolutely gorgeous emblem, very aesthetically pleasing. I like the matte sheen of the alligator leather, nice textured finish to it, and I think it's a very high quality strap, but it just needs some breaking in to become soft and supple. Power indicator is clearly legible. You can see it's now fully wound to 88 hours, and the subdial is clearly legible. You can see the seconds hand sweeping round at 3 Hz. Dolphin hands are correctly proportioned. They contrast very well with the opaline silver dial. Absolutely gorgeous piece, but only for a larger wrist. 2 button push deployant opens smoothly. As you can see, both halves open freely. So good quality deployant, good quality strap, but the strap just feels stiff, so it's going to need some breaking in. That's the thing to bear in mind. Right, so there's no loom, so I don't need to do a loom test. Let's discuss the movement because it's my favourite aspect of the piece. So just bear with me, I'll undo the strap. So, as I've detailed, from 2011, Pequignet became a manufacturer. They began to manufacture their own in-house calibers. What you're looking at here is an in-house Calibre Royal Automatic, which is one of the greatest Pequignet movements they've made. Not only is it technically excellent, the build quality, quality control and finishing are all outstanding. 88 hours is very impressive, but it's also an incredibly accurate movement, which I'll detail. So it has 39 joules. It runs at 21,600 vibrations per hour and a frequency of 3 Hz. 88 hours is over 3.5 days of power reserve, which is very impressive. It's regulated in 6 positions. So just to put that into perspective, top grade and chronometer movements are regulated in 5 positions typically, which is the industry standard. Pequignet go one better. They regulate their in-house calibers in 6 positions to chronometer accuracy, which is -4 to +6. This one is running consistently at +2 seconds per day, which is well within chronometer accuracy of -4 to +6 when fully wound to its maximum 88-hour power reserve. So this in-house Calibre Royal Automatic is made from 318 components. 316 of those components were designed by Pequignet. It's incredibly impressive. Now, if you look at the finishing, at the top of the full bridge, you can see it says Grand Barrelet. Now, Grand Barrelet means large barrel because this has a single large barrel, and that provides the 88 hours, the Grand Barrelet. Now, pelage finishing to it, as you can see, is absolutely gorgeous, and the centre section of it also has milled stripes, which are like Côtes du Genève. So absolutely gorgeous finishing to the movement. The rotor is also skeletonized with a cutout, as you can see, and it's also engraved with the fleur de lis, which is the royal lily, and inlaid with gilt, as is Grand Barrelet, inlaid with gilt. And also, if you look at the left-hand side, you can see it's engraved with Pequignet in gilt, and also manufacture in gilt. Now, this is the kind of decoration and finishing one would expect to see on a high-tier piece costing in excess of €10,000. They deserve credit for this. It is incredibly expensive and difficult to do this kind of finishing and decoration, and it's also expensive for a French brand to make their own in-house calibers. The thing that most impresses me about this, as I've detailed, is the thickness. This is a very low profile in-house caliber. It's only 5.8mm thick. Often high power reserve in-house calibers are very thick movements in order to have a large barrel. As you can see, this has a single large barrel to provide 88 hours. So the negative of high power reserve movements is that they're often very thick, and therefore the head of the piece, the case, needs to be very deep to house them. So you end up with a top-heavy, thick piece on wrist with a high power reserve. But Pequignet have overcome that problem. They reduced the thickness of this movement down to only 5.8. And that's the kind of thickness one would expect with a manual wind movement without a rotor. But this has a rotor. It's automatic, which is bi-directional winding. And that does add some thickness to it, adding the rotor to the movement. 5.8 is very low profile. The benefit is this is only 12.5 thick, even with a double dome sapphire crystal. So, not only is it beautiful to look at, it is technically excellent. 318 components, 316 components designed by Pequignet. It's entirely in-house made by Pequignet in Morteau in France. This is the kind of movement one would expect in a €10,000+ price point piece, a high tier piece, but where you're getting it at a mid-tier price point of 4,800, 88 hours and +2 seconds. The manual winding works very well. Now, the only negative to it, the only thing I dislike about it is, if you look at the subdial at 6 o'clock, the subdial second hand, you can see it sweeps around at 3 Hz, because this movement runs at 21,600 vibrations per hour. I prefer the smoother sweep of a 4 Hz movement running at 28,800 vibrations per hour, because a 4 Hz sweep of the second hand is smoother. With a 3 Hz, it stutters or judders around the subdial rather than sweeping as smoothly as a 4 Hz. However, I understand the technical reason for using a lower beats rate of 21,600, because this does have an incredibly high power reserve of 88 hours. So it is necessary to have 3 Hz versus 4 Hz, and the movement to run at a lower beat rate of 21,600 vibrations per hour versus 28,800, which is 4 Hz. So aesthetically, I would prefer a 4 Hz sweep, but it is acceptable because the positive benefit outweighs the negative of the aesthetic of the stutter or judder of the 3 Hz sweep. 88 hours is incredible. You could take this watch off wrist and manually wind it to its maximum 88 hours, and it will continue running for over 3.5 days. So it's exceptional power reserve, 88 hours, and it's still chronometer accurate to within -4 to +6. This is +2 seconds per day. I love the decoration of it. I like the engraved fleur-de-lis emblem, which is inlaid with gilt, the skeletonized rotor, the pelage finishing is gorgeous, and the milled stripes, which are like Côtes de Genève. Absolutely gorgeous finishing. This movement is a work of art. Technically excellent, build quality, quality control, reliability are all well proven, and it's just fantastic to look at through the sapphire crystal. Gorgeous movement, a credit to Pequignet, and of course made in France. So lastly, I'll summarise the piece. What do I think of it overall? Well, when I'm considering reviewing a watch on my channel, the watch should meet 2 criteria. It should be both excellent quality and excellent value at the respective price point. So, price point of this piece is €4,800. It's a mid-tip piece. Yes, it is unquestionably excellent quality, and yes, it is unquestionably excellent value at €4,800. To put this piece into perspective, what you're looking at here is the build quality, quality control, materials and specification, the finishing of a high-tier €10,000 plus price point piece. You're getting a high-tier piece at a mid-tier price point. With an in-house calibre, this piece is French-made in Morteau in France. The in-house calibre is French-made in Morteau in France. It really is underpriced. I think Pequignet have undervalued this piece. It should retail at €10,000 at the high-tier price point. At €4,800 at the mid-tier price point, this is clearly exceptional value and exceptional quality. And 88 hours with +2 chronometer accuracy is very impressive. The quality of the dial execution and the hand finishing is Holy Trinity level, Patek Philippe, Audemars Piguet, Vacheron Constantin level, €20,000 plus price point level finishing to the dial and the hands. No negatives to it whatsoever. It is the perfect daily wear piece, 100 meters, 88 hours. Fantastic. I'm going to declare it a champagne watch for lemonade money. I'm going to highly recommend it to you for consideration. I hope you've enjoyed my review of the Pequignet Royale Origine. Please feel free to post your own comments below the video. Thank you for watching.